welcome back to my channel. Today I have a monthly March message for all of the Aries out in the collective. Please note this is going to be a general reading, so it will not resonate with every single Aries out in the collective. I ask that you take with you what resonates and leave the rest behind. If you are new to my channel, welcome to Eileen Into Spirit. My name is Eileen Rouse. I'm a psychic intuitive and a spiritual essence coach, and I provide you with guidance, wisdom, and inspiration every other week right here on this channel. I want to let you guys know that if you would like your own private personal reading with me, please look down into the description box and you can now schedule your own private session with me through my Etsy shop. Without further ado, Aries, let's get into your message. All right, Aries, just remember this is going to be a 9-card draw, so let's get into it. What information and what insight can you offer Aries this upcoming month, Spirit? All right, Aries, you are starting, you are starting out at the King of Wands energy. This is great, confident energy. This is like entrepreneurial energy. This is leadership energy. This is a very good place to be. It is fire energy, so I do feel that a lot of you are very passionate. So let's see. We had like 3 cards spit out all at once, so I need to figure out where they go. Okay. All right. Okay, so entrepreneurial energy. This is really good energy. This King of Wands is confident. I feel it's very inspired and very passionate. It's truly in line with trying to build a legacy, an empire, that kind of thing. And I absolutely love that. Do we want these? Yes, okay. Right. What information and what insight? Boy, Aries, this stuff is jumping out like crazy. Your cards are jumping out like 2 at a time. As I'm filming this, it is the 22nd of February, so today is pretty intense energy. A lot of us will be experiencing it very differently, so it will be very interesting to see what comes up. Okay. All right, Aries. Let me just grab my bearings here. I ask that you please bear with me. I have been going through some ascension symptoms and some vocal cord calibrations according to the Council of Light. So my voice is going to kind of crackle, fade in and out. So, all right, Aries, here we go. First card up represents where you currently are. And as I mentioned earlier, you are at the King of Wands. This is a very great energy to be in. I feel this is very good leadership energy. This also speaks to being very inspired to actually take action on something. So if you're wanting to start a business, if you're really looking to, going into your own business or actually becoming sort of like transitioning careers, that kind of thing, you're going to be very successful at this. What I love about the King of Wands is that the King of Wands is all about proper communication and inspiration, and he is the master of those kinds of things. And so this is a very good energy to be in. I also want to point out here this diagonal here with the King of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and the 10 of Cups. So what this really tells me is that you are entering a month here, Aries, where you are going to be deeply inspired to sort of challenge yourself to move in a new direction that is going to be very emotionally fulfilling for you. Like it's going to fill you up from the inside out, and it's just going to make you overflow and be so happy and so content. So whatever it is that you're wanting to do, I want you to really pay close attention to how it makes you feel. If it lights you up inside, then the answer is yes, go in that direction. What is your theme this month? You have the Lovers. You are probably the first sign this whole month that I've done so far, and I've done pretty much all of them. I only have 3 left to do. Who has gotten the Lovers in this position, and I absolutely love this. So what this truly means, this is about making very mature decisions. The Lovers is really about that harmony that we have with the relationships around us, with the relationship that we have with ourselves, the relationship we have with spirit and our higher self. And it also really speaks to being very in love with what we are doing. I think that is ultimately the most important thing here for you, Aries. I feel that in looking at what I'm seeing, how you really feel and how things make you feel and how much you love what you do is going to be the key to your success. So if you're really wanting to know, how do I become successful? How do I, really, make things thrive, right? It's important for you to understand here that if you are doing something that isn't making you happy, it isn't bringing you joy, it's actually something you sort of dread and you don't look forward to every day, that's not what you should be doing. You ultimately need to be focusing your time and your attention and your energy on the things that you love to do, that you get so excited to wake up to every single morning to do those things. So that is your theme this month. I also want to kind of point out that this might be a time when you might actually come into contact with other people, new relationships coming in, and maybe old relationships kind of going away. It's really going to be important that you really focus in on that, okay? Really focus in on your gut and how certain individuals make you feel when it comes to, listen to that gut. Your gut instincts are always going to be on point here, Aries. So what are you accomplishing this month? You have the 8 of Swords here, okay? And I feel that what you're accomplishing here is that, Aries, you tend to be the overthinker. You tend to overthink, you overanalyze. You do a lot of sort of like over analyzing things to death that you probably don't need to be doing. The 8 of Swords is really about recognizing that your mind is keeping you restricted. So whatever thoughts that you are having about the type of success that you are wanting, or the type of business that you're wanting to build, the type of legacy that you're wanting to bring forward, really pay very close attention to your thoughts. If your thoughts are not in alignment with your heart and they're not bringing you joy, they actually create anxiety and stress, then that is what you need to sort of let go, right? What I love about the 8 of Swords is that it's truly recognizing things for what they are. And when you can sort of recognize that your thoughts are really limiting you, they're keeping you restricted in this constant behavioral thought pattern, then that's something that you need to sort of release and let go, because that is where the freedom is going to be. Your theme is really all about this Lovers, right? It's about the love. And remember, the heart of your reading is the Ace of Cups here, which is what you need to embrace. So it's important that you recognize that as you go through this month, if you're in your head, remember you need to stop being in your head and you need to fall back into your heart, okay? I feel that what you need to do is recognize that your negative thought patterns are actually the ones that are sabotaging you. It's not the people outside of you. It's not situations or certain things that are occurring around you that make things pan out the way that they do. It's your thoughts, right? Because we are magnets. We are creators. We create our own destiny. So if you're constantly thinking about failure and that you're not going to be successful, then guess what? You're going to continue to see that. Okay, what do you need to avoid? Now, I want to point out here that both of these right here are 2 8s, okay? 8s ultimately represent abundance, prosperity, manifestation. I also look at it as a cycle, because when you turn an 8 sideways, it looks like the infinity symbol, right? And I often reference that with certain cycles, okay? Now, what you're needing to avoid with this 8 of Pentacles is avoid working on things that you are not enjoying, okay? Now, here's what I want to point out. The Eight of Pentacles truly speaks about becoming the master of something, right? And if you are in the King of Wands, you're inspired, you're passionate, you're wanting to sort of build this legacy and build this, amazing business that you are ultimately wanting to push out into the world. That is what you need to be focusing on. Stop focusing your time and your energy on the things that are not serving you, that are not in alignment with the things that you are passionate about, that sort of keep you in alignment with your heart. And I understand that if there are certain things, like if you have to, work at a certain specific place, I get that, right? But understand that how you perceive things, right? If you don't take control of your mind, okay, and I say that because what your obstacle is, it's the King of Swords, right? And the King of Swords is the master of his mind. And so you need to really become the master of your own mind and sort of take matters into your own hands to be able to create your own destiny here, Aries. So what you're needing to avoid is okay, so I'm getting mixed signals here. So it's almost like, make sure that you have enough time for self-care. I feel like that's the important thing here. Like, don't overwork, right? I understand that you want to accomplish things and you feel like there's not enough time in the day, whatever it might be, but you're ultimately needing to really focus on preserving your energy and making sure that your energy is in alignment with what you are truly trying to create here. The other thing I'm hearing is that, if what you are working on isn't bringing you joy, right, and you're looking at it from a perspective of, but this is feeding my income, then you really need to really evaluate that, because ultimately it's not satisfying you, right? And it isn't going to be able to build a legacy that you are ultimately wanting, okay? So that's something that you really need to evaluate here. Now, what do you need to embrace? You need to embrace this Ace of Cups. This Ace of Cups right here, Aries, really truly speaks about being in alignment with our inner heart. This is heart-centered living. What I love about the Ace of Cups is that it's a new beginning, but it's full of love and unconditional love and fulfillment and joy and excitement and anticipation. And I feel that this is ultimately where you need to lead from. You need to lead from the heart, not from the mind. And I feel a lot of times when we want to create something, we are always analyzing and thinking and trying to lead with what's the next step, instead of truly listening to our gut and listening to our heart and allowing how we feel about what it is we are doing lead us into what naturally flows next. Okay, so this is what you need to embrace. Now, what is your obstacle here, Aries? Your obstacle is this King of Swords. Now, what does this mean? The King of Swords is ultimately the master of his own mind. He sees the bigger picture, and he recognizes that he can make very clear-cut decisions because he knows exactly what it is that he wants. He utilizes his intuition to help him foresee into the future and be able to make those necessary choices and decisions. And I feel your obstacle is that you're in your head all the time, Aries. I really see that because I see the Eight of Swords here with the King of Swords and the Ten of Cups. So this really tells me that you're in your head all of the time, and your head keeps you very restricted. And this restrictment that you feel is ultimately going to hinder you from having this ultimate joy and emotional fulfillment that you are desiring, okay? So you need to become the master of your own mind. Utilize your intellect, okay? You are very smart, Aries. And what you need to ultimately remember is that, if you're doing something that feels very similar to what you've done before, how did you get past that certain obstacle, that certain challenge? How did you overcome that, right? Look at your previous experiences and your previous knowledge to help you make conscious choices, to make better choices, intellectual choices when deciding to move towards your future. Now, what is the support that you have? You have the Sun here. Now, this is great because your support is recognizing that you're going to obtain the freedom and you're going to break through every challenge and every barrier that you come across. Now, I want to point out that this month is a very good month for you here, Aries, because I really feel that you're going to be learning a lot on how to achieve and become that leader that you are so wanting to become. There's a lot of things that you're still having to learn because this is sort of like a new area for you. You're very it's unfamiliar territory, right? So you're having to sort of climb that ladder in order to truly build knowledge and wisdom in this new area that you could then teach that to others. And I want you to understand that even though in your mind it might seem dark and it might seem dim and it might feel like you're not really climbing that ladder or you're not becoming successful or you're not achieving your goals, I want you to know here that with the sun ultimately means that success. It ultimately means success. And I want you to know that this is your support. Really learn to tune into, if you can visualize yourself at the finish line, if you can visualize yourself in your completed goal, if you can have that vision in your mind, let that lead you, right? That is what's going to give you that emotion, that anticipation, that thrill, and that excitement. And that is ultimately is what is going to break you free from this mental restriction that you've created for yourself here, Aries. Now, what is your action? You have the Five of Wands here. Now, normally with the Five of Wands, I look at this as a conflict, but I'm not viewing it this way. What I'm actually hearing is this is a way for you to not only teach, but to learn. And I feel this is about you sort of working with other individuals to help you achieve your goal, your intended outcome, what you're really wanting to achieve here. When you're really looking at this card, you will notice that it's like several people working together. They're all trying to reach that flame, right? And what does that flame truly represent? The flame truly represents our passions, our desires, our goals, the things that we strive for on a day-to-day basis. And I feel that you will find here that if you can learn to work with other individuals and have other individuals, maybe this means you have to find a mentor, someone that you can actually talk to that can guide you towards the next steps of you building this empire or this legacy that you're trying to build here, Aries. And I feel that with this Five of Wands, it's really about recognizing where you need to make change, right? Maybe the way that you have been trying to tackle something isn't necessarily working for you, and maybe you need to try it a different way. Maybe you need to go at it from a different perspective. This is the whole beauty of the Five of Wands. Now, what is your advice and your encouragement? You have the Ten of Cups here, and I love this for you, Aries, because what this tells me is that if you continue on this path for this month, you are ultimately going to be very happy. You're going to be very overjoyed. You're going to be very fulfilled and very satisfied with where you are. And I feel that's ultimately what you're trying to achieve here. You're just wanting a happy family, happy home. You're wanting to see yourself successful here, Aries, and you're going to get there. But just recognize that it takes time, right? There are certain things that we have to sort of come into enlightenment about. We have to become aware. We have to allow ourselves to be consciously aware of the things in our lives, what's truly preventing us from seeing that success or being in that successful state, and learning to change our habits and our patterns along the way. So Aries, this is your message for this month. We are going to draw an additional card from Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light deck to see what additional information Spirit has for you here. So let's see. Angels, archangels, guides, ascended masters, what additional information and insight can you offer Aries this month? What additional information and insight can you offer Aries this month? Okay. All right, Aries. We have boundaries, right? And this says, where do you need to establish better boundaries? I absolutely love this card for you, Aries. Here's what boundaries truly means. And I feel that if you've probably heard this before, you need to establish better boundaries. Where are your boundaries? Do you have boundaries? That kind of thing. And here's what I'm going to tell you about boundaries. Boundaries is really a form of self-care. it is basically you establishing what you will tolerate and what you will not tolerate, how you expect to be respected, what you expect, and really figuring out who are the individuals that constantly try to surpass your boundaries. Now, here's the important thing that you need to sort of understand when it comes to boundaries. Boundaries is really about protecting yourself. It is about respecting yourself, honoring yourself, recognizing that you have value, you have worth, and you have to do what is necessary to respect that, right? And I feel a lot of times when people impede on our boundaries, what they're doing is they're only thinking about themselves. They're not respecting you as an individual or as a person. And when I tell all of my coaching clients that they need to establish better boundaries, what I'm really telling them is that you need to make yourself a priority. You need to decide what you're really gonna tolerate and what you expect on how other people should treat you. And the reality is that when we don't establish those boundaries, when we're unclear of how we want to be treated, because let's be real, people are not going to respect you, right? And a lot of times people will surpass that boundary every single time, right? We naturally have this idea or this belief that people will naturally just treat us with respect, but that doesn't always happen, right? Especially with family. And we have to be able to say, this is my boundary. My boundary is that I'm not going to allow you to talk to me in that type of a tone, right? And it's not you ultimately telling that person, don't talk to me that way. What that really means is that when that person starts taking that specific tone with you, or they start saying those specific words that are triggering you, you need to ultimately say, this is my boundary and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore, and you walk away, okay? This is about you understanding that you need to honor yourself in where you are and where you are going, okay? So Aries, where do you need to establish better boundaries in your life? Do you need to establish better self-care boundaries, right? Like respecting yourself enough to say that I need time for myself to make sure that I am of balanced mind, body, and soul, right? Do you need to establish better boundaries when it comes to how people communicate with you? Do you need better boundaries when it comes to how you are, like the type of things that you're doing, how it's leaving your mental state or your physical state or your emotional state, that kind of thing. So Aries, I really feel this is going to be your assignment for this month. I really feel that it's going to be you truly discovering what it is that you really want going forward and learning how to stick to better boundaries. So Aries, I thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time with your new message. Namaste, guys.